Welcome, everybody. We are going to start this webinar today. It's organized by two villages, Business in Transition and Work and Care. I will introduce myself and I will introduce the speaker of today, Oscar di Montigny. I'm Giacomo. I'm a researcher at the University of Catholic of Milan. I work together with other participants in the Work in Transition. There is also Giorgia Negri. She is the coordinator of the Village Work and Care, and she will introduce herself later. We have Oscar Montigny. He is the chief and manager of Banca Mediolanum for sustainability. He also founded a startup, USS. He's also the CEO of Banca. He's the president. He's also a writer and a consultant and a speaker. He works a book about gratitude, which is an innovative theme that we do care talk about. Before starting the discussion today, I would like to ask you a question, remembering that today's discussion is about two villages together, about a conversation between two villages that we prepared with our participants from all the villages. We are trying to build a new economy, so today's is an opportunity to talk with you about topics that are linked to topics that you talk about in your book. When we first had a talk with you about this webinar, you were very enthusiastic about the topics. And that's why we want to ask you, how do you feel linked to Economy of Francesco? Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and to talk about this in the event linked to Economy of Francesco. I feel at home, even if I am a guest here today, especially because I'm really connected to Assisi. It's a territory that provides me a spiritual connection. I think Francesco was an excellent economist, and it's really crucial to talk about economy in that territory. This call was really explicit by Papa Francesco regarding the economy and the need of changing the economy. it's really urgent to start talk about a new economy. And that's why I feel at home. I'm not an economist. I do work in economy and finance, but I'm not an economist. But I do value the economy of economy. I have a humanistic background. And then I found myself working in the financial sector with preconcepts that I wanted to talk about some topics that I will also mention today to understand the meaning of economy. I always thought that was something easy to understand, giving for granted. So I really wanted to understand the meaning behind the word economy, to understand the root of that. I discovered many meanings regarding economy, but my surprise was to find a definition that economy is a heart of managing the goods and administration of goods and services. Therefore, I never thought that economy could be an art. And if you ask to other people, this is not the first description of economy they would think of. Art is a way of how humans are trying to find a meaning, to define, express themselves. So my first thought is about sharing how economy can be art and produce beauty and focus on what can create in a beautiful way. And then it's art about managing goods and service for family and the state. And do it well. How to use this art in an artistic way to produce beautiful things in a good way. How this can be translated into education for others. And today is basically understanding what we mean by good. It has to be good for everybody. It's not about creating value only for the people that are involved in exchange, but for everybody, including the planet. We were talking about relativism a relative good for people involved in exchange. But today we need to change this mindset and focus on absolute, a good for everybody. I want to precise that we didn't send Oscar questions, so all these were his suggestions. I want to add that to economy, this is about producing goods and a common good. I represent the village work and care. And at company level, we focus from translating from control to trust and care. Your profile is very interesting because you work in a bank, but you're also founder of a big corp, which is a startup with a focus on social. We are a bank and we are trying to get the certification B Corp. I also own another company. I'm part of another company, which is pending B Corp and is a social startup for that. And we are getting the certification B Corp. Why did you decide to follow this path? If I can say so, I think it was about awareness. We are part of two different generations. And I'm part of a generation that in our little, with an idea of abundance, to get access to everything, to have always resources available. And especially ideas. Today it's easy, you are in a social platform and you get a lot of information, while my generation was more looking into finding ideas and information. I need to buy a newspaper if I wanted to get access to information. Therefore, for me today, the key word was awareness. The risk of today is never achieving this level of awareness to actually take actions and look for a better situation. For your generation, the risk is that you give for granted this awareness, and so you don't make that pragmatic and you don't achieve that because you give it for granted. I decided to focus on 3 streams for the future. For what I believe that all companies, all organizations should take into account of, which is innovation, sustainability, and the central figure of the human being. Today, it's really important being innovative. It's the only thing that allows us to survive, especially in the global market. You always need to be innovative. Change the order of things to create something new. This is what innovation means. Continually change the order and the perspective to create new things. The limit is that the order that needs to change, the situation, the basic one, is the system that we created. Therefore, we need to start from this system and then continually innovate and change. So it's really hard to change this order because we try to find our comfort zone. And after COVID, everyone is talking about going back to normality, which makes no sense because there is no normality. And our focus so far is to go back to normality because we knew that system and we are comfortable about using that. But if we take into consideration sustainability, we understand that we are all living in the same system, which is a closed system. An ecosystem which is closed, and if we take in consideration science and physics, we know that this is about an electromagnetic camp. So we are all interconnected. And when we alterate this order, we need to take into account this interconnection between things. We cannot change the system without thinking that has an impact on something else. We need to find a way to alterate the order, taking into consideration the impact on other things. And it can be good or it can be bad. There is no way in the middle. So there is still a problem here because we still need to underline this concept. We already know that we are all interconnected. We already know that we have these common resources. This is physics. We need to build bridges, not walls. Of course, we need rules when we create bridges to understand how to move between bridges. And we have innovability in this way, which is innovation and sustainability, which makes innovability. It's innovation that focuses on sustainability. And then is sustainability, which is accelerated by innovation. Innovation without sustainability is dangerous. If sustainability is not accelerated by innovation, will never be pushed. will be stuck there. And then the third stream, human being. If we don't focus on human being, which is our we need to focus on the human being, because this is the basic thing to work on, because the human being needs to be put in the center of every organization, every scheme, in every field. Human being is the best technology that exists on our planet. You're a quantum leader. Okay. I will add that on my bio. We also play with words, work and care. There's another village about vocation and profit. You wrote a book about gratitude, and you work in the financial sector. I will introduce you Stefano, which is also from Work and Care Village, from Liguri. Good morning, hi. Thank you for your words. They are key concepts that will help us to change the mindset. I want to take these words with me: innovation, sustainability. My education was given by my family mindset and my personal experiences, and work in a bank as well. This experience led me to also write my thesis about Laudato Si. How this new economy can, how this mindset can focus on gratitude and social responsibility and push towards a more responsible finance, a more responsible economy. The last event about the saving event, which is an event about the most important event about finance. I also mentioned that I've experienced in marketing. So in the last 10 years, I kind of learned something about marketing, and I'm able to apply some concepts. And during that event, they had this problem about finding the title, finding the main concept of the event. last event was called the ethical finance, sustainable finance. And I told them they made a mistake. My question is, can today finance be not sustainable? If I need to give a title and provide a description on a product or service, it's really important to find the right concept. If you're talking about sustainable finance, a lot of people, yes, will come, but that means that past events, what they were talking about, because what about past and future events if this event will be sustainable? We need to innovate, otherwise we will be out of the global market. Are you not sustainable? It means that you need to take your responsibility. But if you are not sustainable, you are creating you're being unsuccessful. So if you are not sustainable, it means that you are losing sustainability. If you are not following ethical principles, it means that you are in the opposite side. So either you are or you're not sustainable. You are already together. You're already linked to other people. There is no talk about being or not being linked to others. We already know. That's why we need to be aware of that. Then we need to open a discussion about what is ethical, which is different. Because everyone can have a different concept about being ethical. So we need to go back to the human being. And there's a problem here because something that could be ethical for me could not be ethical for you. So that's why we need to go back to the human being and find a common meaning. This is also true for racism. I'm still worried when someone wants to talk about ethical things. We need to understand that this topic, there is no discussion about what is ethical and what is not. We need to be aware that ethic has already a line that we cannot go underline. We need to create models to demonstrate what is already given for granted. We find ourselves in the position to demonstrate obvious things. We do not have time to do that. Either we talk about economy, finance, art, good. Economy started about something that could be good, an exchange of benefits and services. Money came later. Can be considered like energy, which is necessary to make some things happen, but it's not compulsory. Therefore, it's how can you produce good for others? This is how we need to be rich for the spirit and being human being and create things for the common good. I'm Cristina. I'm a PhD and doing research on economy of Francesco as well, related to that. When you talk about the right profit, and that also in finance, it's becoming more and more accepted. Do you think this is also true for big companies with large shareholder space? How would you convince a market that speculates and earn on daily minimal price fluctuations to the layer give a part of its profit away? How important is this ownership, like the governance of the company and its structures to undertake the new path towards a more sustainable economy? I go back to this concept that we need to rethink that human being needs to be at the center and be aware of the situation. I worked in an environment conducted by a family business. So there is a special orientation that facilitate my passion to grow. There were already values embedded in the company culture. It's not about getting the certification B Corp. because that means that our company is working well. You can also have a company that works well, that focus on good and responsibility. Today, I think we need to reflect about responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to provide response. We need to really be able to provide those answers. If we take in consideration this moment that we are all living due to COVID, it's a hard time, which make us big questions, and we have new capabilities to innovate, take responsibility, and change our old mindset to take new decision and change the system. I see past talks of mine where I was already talking many years ago that we were inside, we were living a crisis where the family was losing the focus. Everyone was focused on money, and it's really hard to define ourselves. Even religion and faith needs to change the language. We have new channels, we have new complexity. Either we change and adapt and we innovate and we go out from our comfort zone. Either we adapt to new things, otherwise we will not survive. So within this big crisis of ethical and values, we need to rethink, re-innovate all the concepts. We need to create this new value class. I always thought that brand needs to communicate people. I managed to invite to Italian Patch Adams, which is a doctor that was going around to talk to people, and then also the niece of Gandhi. We're talking about people. We need to change these values to adapt to these people, and this needs to be done by people that take responsibility of their actions and be able to provide the answers needed. The problem is that a lot of people that are in charge in the big areas of the society, politics, governments, big companies, they might not be able to provide the right answers to these new needs. Innovation doesn't mean that we need to cancel the past, but we need to rethink it for the future. Now Melissa will introduce herself. She works in the communication field and she's also part of Economy of Francesco. In my experience in communication, I see how it's hard to suggest new models with, for example, the gratitude as a concept included in the strategy. Especially, it's really hard to measure what you cannot see. Not all the companies, they give value to manage the value that people bring in the company. So my question is how to create strategy that allows managers to understand the impact of gratitude in the workplace, especially linked to the workers' performances. That's a good question. It's really smart. Next time I would like to receive the questions for the next event. I will also answer with words gratitude. It's about remember of something that we received and we are ready to emphasize that we received it. If we take into consideration marketing communication as well, we can use this perspective. The focus of marketing is about creation of awareness about the brand of a company, of the company where he works or she works for. It can be like reputation, protect the reputation of the brand. And the truth is that word of mouth is the main channel of communication, and every communication channels that we are using today are based on the word of mouth. You can find a lot of information on internet about other users, what they are thinking of products and services. Today, it's really important about the word of mouth. If you can create this feeling of gratitude in the market, you can receive a good feedback also for others. But what is gratitude? There is a tool to understand that. And we can use respect and love. If the market shows you low love and low respect, you are just a commodity. With high respect and low love is a brand, bank, military. If there is high love and low respect, is a fan. Which is about something fast, like fashion, fast fashion industry. You continually change your clothes. And then you have high respect and high love. And that it's love brand, Google, Pepsi. To be in that position, marketing always worked on create needs to people so people could desire that people or service, even if they really didn't need that. Now we have this new concept that I'm trying to push, which is grateful brand. Which is about not only getting loved, because love doesn't link to gratitude. They could love you, but they could not feel gratitude towards you. And even if I get a lot of respect, it doesn't mean that they feel grateful for me. Gratitude has also respect and love, but it doesn't lead to gratitude. Even if in a family you get education, but you get an education a bad way. Of course, you're grateful to your parents because you got education, but you will not be grateful about how you were feeling. So for the future is about how brand makes you feel. It's a very big goal for companies. It's not about creating a need. Making the consumer feel grateful because the product and service works, they get assistance, but even more, we need something more. It's really hard to find a KPI for gratitude within the company. This is about feelings that it's hard to manage in the workplace. They're talking about an example about how gratitude, it's really about the story being and not storytelling. The past generation was about story selling. It was about selling products, about telling them stories about how product works. Because that was the generation. About selling a product, saying what it does. We all started about storytelling. And for example, to buy a car now, you use story to sell products. And then now we are in a new time. It's about the story of doing. But that's still, I think it's not enough. You need to be the things you are doing, which are also the things that you are saying, which are also the things you are selling. You said you had a background in a monastic. So I'm going to introduce you, Michela. I want to talk about what you said before about the interconnection between human being. You talk about the interconnection and take care of the others. And but it's also true that in this reality, we only measure the performance of the single person, not the group performances. There is no way to measure the group performance versus the single performance. So how the question is it possible in the future to measure the performance of how much an individual is helping others? And in your personal life, how can you deal with your figure of public speaker consultant and also be part of a family and be a father, which also it does not provide the picture that a lot of women during the crisis need to be staying home with their kids. So actually, I want to say the truth. I'm not doing what I'm saying. I want to expose myself. I'm talking about what is the ideal situation. I want to offer a different standard that I aspire for, but I'm not able to achieve. And I do that because when you focus on a goal, you kind of move towards that goal and you work to achieve that goal. So the first person that we need to be grateful. We need to be grateful for ourselves. We usually don't show gratitude for ourselves. We don't take care of ourselves. And many times we talk about how systems should take care of us. And we complain about that it's not enough. We always want many things from others. We never talk about rights. If we talk about human rights, we already know what we need to do. The problem is that, first of all, we don't take care of ourselves. We don't wake up in the morning and say thank you. It's like if we are so busy that we forgive. We always forget about saying that we're grateful. And we also forget that we deserve that. So first of all, we should take care of ourselves by being grateful to ourselves, say thanks to us, and then be grateful for others. When you are grateful for everything, you see abundance, and you can share that you can take something and share the others. Now I'm going to say that COVID was kind of something good because it provided us awareness. Because for one moment, we look in the mirror to ourselves and we ask ourselves the question, maybe it was a question that we already did to ourselves. But we had time to slow down and face the mirror and understand that we were living a life where we were not knowing ourselves, we were not aware of ourselves. Because we cannot live this life. We need to live a life where we take care. It was a big gift for us. When everyone says, let's go back to normality, we cannot do that. We are not able to share. We are not able to respect. We are not able to take care of the others. So we cannot go back to this normality. We need to change. But if we have bad situations outside, it's because we also have bad situation inside us. And in my first book, I was just saying that for this time that we are living, we will not have big figures, big people that will come and push down walls. Now it's our time. We need to do that. We need to take off our responsibility and do things for our own. To take responsibility and push to change towards a more responsible economy. Education is really important because children spend a lot of time in school. But it's really also important education outside of school because education is ongoing in our children's life. So our children depends on other people's education. That is common good because we're all interconnected. The key word is responsibility. Our next speaker that will ask you a question will be from the Village Vocation and Profit. A lot of people listen and understand to this call in the economy of Francesco. So if we go to talk about vocation and profit, Gian Donato is an outsider as it's part of the vocation and profit. I reflected upon the keywords that were mentioned today: business, cure, gratitude, and vocation. It's really hard to sell something that I don't feel within me. Today we can talk about business is kind of something particular because someone needs to have skills for operate in some areas. But about cure, gratitude, and vocation, that's different. But cure and gratitude is something we need to do personally, especially then for vocation, where we need to listen to our call and take actions on that. So my question for you is, why are you doing that? For whom? And how and when did you find your vocation? I told you it was kind of hard today. I'm trying to find the right answer. I do it for me. I do it for my spiritual part of me. I don't want to say I'm doing that for God, because I feel like arrogant saying that. When I say that I do it for me, and I want to mention something I talk in my first book. In my book, I talk how myths from ancient Greece was talking about how heroes were generated by the gods and human union. The myth also says that gods were envy humans because they were not living in eternity. So these heroes that were half human and half god we are not human beings that have an experience of divinity, but we are gods that have this experience of being human. So this is where we need to start. To love ourselves, and then in this way we can actually take care of others. And this is our divine approach. I feel like God asked me to complete myself before helping others to complete themselves. If I focus only on others, probably I'm hiding behind that I'm not able to take care of myself. It's like if I can only take care of myself if I take care of the others. This is a vocation. In company, we talk about vision and mission. Well, that's not enough. if you exchange the terms vocation and mission, you fall wrong. You need to keep vocation turned on. That's the only way to focus on your mission. Without vocation, you cannot reach your mission. Everyone has a different vocation. You are acting on what is your mission, but then vocation is your meaning and your eternity. And what is eternity is about living in the gratitude that others feel for you. The act of love that I was talking before in economy is about a simple KPI. More you give, more you receive. The most high act of love in the economy is that everyone wants to be loved. But the best thing is that everyone wants to love. So in this market where there are so many people that wants to love and everyone wants to be loved, and by looking at this, we need to find a way in our own life to make that happen, to match demand and offer. It's really hard to give companies the tools to embed gratitude in the business operations. It's really hard to find a way. I cannot tell how to do that. What I can do is to push you to ask yourself questions and then find your vocation, your truly vocation that is not about making money, but find eternity. Vocation is the key word. So the three key words that I can take today is agape, accountability, Martina, she has a background in architecture. even if I have a background in architecture, I find myself to talk about economy. And my focus in circular economy. And my focus is about relationship and an economy can create benefits for the environment and the planet. So I was thinking about the current mindset, how we produce profit. If we take in consideration the human being as the economicus human being, it focuses on profit. But so my question is, how this economy that is about sustainability how this economy that focuses on sustainability can be used to produce profit. Yes, but that it's a profit that includes also the benefits for the society and for the environment. I'm a sponsor for the circular economy, but I think it's not sufficient. The idea behind the circular economy of reuse and protect and provide resources is limited. It's likely that this model will lead us to vastly change our way of transportation from fuel and gas vehicles to more sustainable options. Like electric cars. Mm-hmm. So electric cars, they travel using batteries, which are made of materials that are really limited resources. Electric cars will be made by battery and raw materials like lithium. So suddenly we don't focus more on petrol. So if there are wars for petrols and we try to fight to gain that countries that have a lot of petrols and resources, so we could take advantage of. So if we change our focus from petrol to lithium, we are not changing the economy approach of taking advantage again of that resource. Business will just be transferred from petrol cars to electric cars, and we are not going to solve the situation that there is behind regarding wars, regarding the war and the limited resource. Because again, what is lacking here is about the central position of the human being in the economy. Because if we don't understand that we are all interconnected, yesterday we were just if we don't understand we are all interconnected, like yesterday we were not taking care of our planet and we were producing a lot of waste, this is not going to change for the future. So what we need is take circularity and add another dimension, which is the human being dimension, from the divine to the human being. And that's why I'm talking about a circular economy as a sphere, a globe, which has a democratic approach. This is the shape that we have to aim to. It's the best shape on Earth. So before thinking about circular economy, what we need to take care of is to reintroduce the human being dimension in our economy. They're asking if I survived the translation of the event, and I did. We want to thank you for your participation. We wanted to thank you for today. We wanted to thank you again for being here today and to have answered to all our questions. I wanted to read something that is behind my book. We need people that are creative, that think in a new way, that they don't use their skills to just be rich, but they are able to lead the world in a social ecological way. We really need someone. We need people that generates gratitude. And if you want also to read my book and then give me feedback, but the most important thing is to keep in touch, and you can do that through my blog and my channels. And hopefully we will see you again and keep in touch. Thank you everybody for today. And